Okay, to make titanium grill inserts for your carbon fibre. It doesn't have to be carbon fibre. You can have one of those piano black gloss grills or whatever grill. I mean, I'm specifically referring to my G82, but this same process could apply for anything. What you need is a sheet of titanium, some cardboard, marking pen, a glue gun, which we'll talk about later on, some paint, some wide nose crimpers, some tin snips, and some Masonite. Okay, so what we got to do first is we get our grill. And again, apologies, I lost the video. I'd already done this. So basically, you get your cardboard, you put it behind your grill, and you cut out your grill slots where the air would go through, right? So you mark it with a pen, pencil, whatever you got to do, cut it with scissors, Stanley knife, happy days, right? And so therefore, in my case, I have six slots, the 2 top ones, the 2 middle ones, and the 2 bottom ones, right? Good. Next thing I need to do is then use these templates to cut out some Masonite, right? Some Masonite templates as well. The Masonite I'm going to use to sandwich in between the titanium so I can bend the titanium in the vise. Okay, so pretty simple, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? So I just get my template, mark it out, cut out the Masonite, happy days. As long as I've got 2 of each. I've got 2 middles, I've got the 2 tops, and I've got the 2 bottoms. Beautiful. Right, so now I've got my templates. I go back to my titanium. Now my titanium, this one is a nice piece of titanium I got out, and you can see it's beautiful and firm. I got out in a place called Dandenong, which I'll link. I got it in a suburb called Dandenong, at a place that I will link below. I think it was called Stat or something, or Start or whatever. So then I get my template. You can use either, whatever. Get my template. I lay it on there, and I want to allow about 22 mil, just under an inch. You guys will say 7/8, whatever. And then you get your texter, and you draw the line about 22 mil from the edge. You want overhang. That overhang is what you use to bend, right? Then, once I've marked it out with my black line, or whatever line, I don't really care, get my tin snips, cut, right? And then I have a piece that's 20 mil, 22 mil bigger than what my template is, yeah? Then I get my template. I get my piece of, I'm just going to use a piece of excess, because I don't want to bend that piece, because I may use it for something else. I get my template. I sandwich it in between my titanium. Now, just imagine that my titanium piece is sandwiched between these two, whoops, and there's 20 mil of overhang, or 22 mil overhang around. I get that, whoops, I put that in my vise. Try and do this with one hand. Challenge number 1. Oh, there you go. Look at this. Skills or what? Cool. Oh. Yeah? Cool. And now, theoretically, I've got my titanium piece sandwiched between these two, with a 20 mil overhang all the way around. Yeah? I get my trusty wide mouth pliers. These guys I just bought off eBay. I think it was like 38 bucks, no more than 40 bucks. What's that in US? Whatever, who cares? 30 bucks, $28, whatever. And then I go along, and then I crimp it right to the edge, and I give it a nice little right angle bend. Right, it's not going to bend 100% straight the first time, but I give it a couple of little bit of tweaks. Oops, I've gone too far there. And then I just finesse it until it's right. Right, and I do that all the way around. You may have to cut a little V on the corners, just so you can allow a very small V, so you can allow the bend, right? But then you'll have bends all the way around until it looks like this. This is what I created before for the middle piece, right? And as you can see, it's a pretty sweet job. It's not hard, it's not perfect, but it doesn't need to be perfect because you will never see it. This part here, this bended part, you will know gets epoxied to the carbon fibre, right? So once that's done, and it's nice and flat over here, right? Make sure it's flat. That one's not perfectly flat, but you need to make sure it's flat. You can bend it into shape because it's got enough movement in it to make it flat. Sorry, and you get it perfect. Again, I'm not saying this one is, but I would get it better. Make sure all 6 are on. You then push that onto the back of your grill. In my case, my Vorsteiner grill. Make sure it's snug. Mine didn't come off, so I did it to the point where it didn't come off. Well, actually, before that, you may need to go around with your tin snips, snip, 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 and just snip anything that's either too high or, you know, around the corners. Trying to make sure that you've got, you know, connection points for when you do epoxy it onto your carbon, right? And this is probably the worst one I did. It's really not hard, right? Just take your time, do it properly, right? So, depends if that's what you want to do. I mean, that's all you want to do, but I wanted it nice and black, so the front of my car looks nice and black. So then, once all 6 of them were done, I then gave it, I think it was 2 or 3 coats, minimum 2 coats of this acid etch primer. Alright, doesn't really matter the colour. This one's particularly grey because I knew I was going to paint it black. And then I got an epoxy enamel paint, right, in black or in satin black. Right, you can use this. This was here just bought at, both of them were just bought at Repco, I think. Don't know the price, can't remember. Try and find it. Maybe I'll even link it in the description below. So literally had at least 4 coats. At least 4 coats on all 6. So, you know, oh, actually, good, really important point. When you do paint it, get some painter's tape, you know, that blue tape, and just paint over the edge side of it. Don't paint that, because you want to have it as pure as possible to epoxy onto the carbon, right? So, effectively, the face that gets, and remember, actually, here's another really important point. Remember, the inside of that is the front of your grill, because you're clipping this back on. So this is the exposed part. So this is the part that's the paintwork needs to be perfect, and it's not hard, right? Because you basically just get a little hook, hang it up, paint it, beautiful days, right? But that's the part that's facing the front. That's the part that has the best coverage. And secondly, this part needs to be masked so you don't have paint on it, because you don't want to have the paint being epoxied, the painted titanium being epoxied to the carbon fiber or plastic, whatever you're getting, right? So you want to have it as clean as possible. When you take that off and you're putting it on and you are epoxying it, make sure you put spray some prep on it so it's really nice and clean. You don't want any oils or anything like that. You buy yourself one of these glue guns, and I don't have it here because I've used it all, but I'll try and find a link in the description. But I used a 3M Scotch Weld DP460NS epoxy. In my research, and even rang the guys at 3M, so thanks you guys at 3M. It's one of the few that can actually bond titanium to carbon fiber. And mine, I've had mine on for a little bit now, and it's perfect. And there's no rattles, it's not loose, it's perfect. Perfect. That's it. That's really it. It's really not hard. It just takes a little bit of time. Obviously, you've got to allow time for painting. So don't expect that you'll get, yes, you can get all of this cut out and done in a day, but then you're going to need at least 2 or 3 days of you know, painting, waiting, painting, waiting, painting, waiting, and then the epoxy side of it. So once you get, and again, unfortunately I don't have the video for that, but quite simply, once it's painted, prep it, you clamp it back into the bottom of your grill, and then you run with this 3M Scotch Weld epoxy, and then you glue that part, this whole edge part, to the carbon fiber. Yeah, that's it. That's all it is. I'm gonna go do a quick cut out and then cut back in so you can see what mine looks like. I have got a video which I have to find, which also is where I've cut out for the ACC sensor. So one sec. Yeah, okay, so this is the finished product. I don't know, I had to put a light behind it because it is so black, but if you can see that, that's a really nice finish. I'm super happy with it. Without those grills, you would basically be able to see straight through to the aluminium radiator, which is fine if that's what you want, right? But I didn't want that. I wanted to have it black, so it just looks a bit tougher. Right. By the way, that M4 badge, some of you are going to ask the question, you can take that off your old grill. It's just glued on, double-sided tape on. Just get a you know, a blade, take it off nice and neatly, and then double-side onto that. Right, I just use some 3M tape so it's nice and secure. For those in Australia, you have to drill through your number plate thing. You'll have to drill through this, right? And I won't talk about how to take all this stuff. There's loads of people who've done that on YouTube, right? And they've done it better than me. And then with this one, I think I've got a video, but the simple way is take that out before you mount it, mark it where it is supposed to be, set it over the top of the ACC, and because it's black, I didn't have a particular paint, so I used again some painter's tape, some blue tape, and I outlined where it was going to be cut. Then I took the grill off. Actually, this is a really important point here. I took it off before I cut this out before I epoxied it, right? Put some light back on it. So this has to be done before you epoxy it in, right? So again, lined it up to where it was going to go, and even with the bumper bars off, it's surprising. It's pretty obvious where it's going to sit. Even with one hand, I was able to put some blue masking tape just to make sure it goes around, and it's not a straightforward rectangle and all that kind of stuff. So you just take your time, get your tape, mask around it, move it away, use your side cutters or your tin snip, sorry, cut around it. I deliberately left it a little bit tight, right, because I didn't want to have a huge amount of gap. The bottom part of this is not great. I'm a bit disappointed in myself with that one, but generally speaking, it's pretty tight. ACC works perfectly. Everything's honky-dory, as we say it here. So can you hear that? That's so hard. It's fantastic. I'm really happy with the quality. It doesn't rattle. Also put the carbon fibre brake ducts in, which is a must. I mean, I hated this grill before, factory. I actually ended up buying the 340 just because I hated this grill so badly, right? Then I finally came around to it, and then when I saw the Vorsteiner, it was okay, sign me up. That looks pretty sick, I reckon. It looks so much better than that stock thing. Hope that helps you. Any questions, leave them in the comments.